person is not available. There can be two finite possibilities wherein, let's say, he had to go on an unplanned emergency leave or a sick leave kind of a thing, because of which the team has to think what needs to be done. Or the other way around, it's a planned vacation. Now that can further be divided into a short planned vacation, or a medium planned vacation, or a long vacation, which spans across multiple months. To start with, if it's an unplanned vacation, of course things would be going as usual, as BAU, and the team would have to ensure that the show must go on. And if it's a sprint planning session, they should still come together, go through the stories. If there are any questions, they should list them out, or if there are any open items that the product owner has to answer, list them out. If there are any questions that they think product owner might not be able to answer and they are urgent, maybe they can directly reach out to the customer or the stakeholder. Scrum master can be a good role, a good person to get that connect established. So in that way, the things can still be managed. If that spans into planned vacation, let's start with short planned vacation, which are of a few days, maybe for a week. Because these are planned vacations, team, product owners, scrum master, everyone would know about it. Everything comes down to be how effective the three roles are with each other, and how they how well they synchronize with each other. And the level of trust is very important in all the three roles. Scrum master should have that trust in the team, that whatever the user stories are there, whatever the events are being planned within the vacation, they would still go on. If there are sprint reviews, the team would have to arrange mini reviews or prior reviews before the product owner steps out. If there are any things to be reviewed after he steps out, we would have to find a few workarounds. Maybe send him a screenshot, he can just approve, or directly go to the discussion, and then show it to the customer how well it is, seek the feedback, move on to the next sprint, and then share what happened with share whatever happened in these discussion with the product owner when he is back. Now, of course, trust is a big factor, because the team would have to ensure the PO would do his job, the PO would have to ensure that the team would do his job, and Scrum Master would have to ensure that none of these things go out of the place or off track, and hence everything should be in place. If that vacation spans, let's say, for a few weeks, not months, but few weeks, in that case, team would definitely need someone around who is still acting as a PO. In that case, they might want to have a person elevated to the role of PA, maybe as an acting PO or a proxy PO, or someone who is representing that role. The best can be someone from within the team, especially people like on the business analyst side. They can really be very effective, because they would be closely working with the PO. They would have a good knowledge of the product. They would know about the business as well. They might also be aware and have a good relationship with the customer, a few of the stakeholders, and Scrum Master and the team would also be familiar with, and they would be comfortable to work with this person. If that's something possible, nothing better than that. Go for it. We have to remember that communication, trust are going to be very important in this case, and the event sprint planning, product backlog refinement, product the sprint reviews, everything has to go as planned. And PO can share a few of his thoughts for the upcoming sessions, and what he or she was planning to do, and how things should be going on, how things are actually going on, the gap, how to fill them. If you're going really good, how to take it to the another level, all that stuff. The PO can share with this person. A very important thing, there should be an overlap between this proxy PO and the actual PO. A few weeks prior to his vacation, and after he's back, again there should be a synchronization. Coming to the long term, so everything that I've said till now should still be applied to long vacations. When I say long term vacations, I mean vacations which are spanning across a few months for whatever number of reasons. Now, in that case, um, team cannot work with just one person who is acting as a PO or a proxy PO or someone who's just representing that role. They would definitely need a person who is the actual PO. So in that case, the management, the team might consider to have a replacement for the PO who is a full-time person, full-time role, and then again, like I said earlier, there should be a bigger overlap. All the prioritization techniques, the way this PO was working, the things that this PO was working on, the items that the PO was working on, all those things should have an handover. We should start thinking about gathering all the common information on a common place like an Excel sheet or a Confluence page, wherein we keep the information about all the stakeholders, uh, whom to contact for which type of features, which functionality. So all that stuff we should start thinking about. Now, one more thing again is like previous two things, wherein the team itself or themselves they were organizing all the things. Now this new person has to uh, come in and step into that new role of this PO who is going to step out. In that case, he has to build a relationship, a rapport with the team, the scrum master, the stakeholders, the customers, and ensure there there is very minimal um, gaps, and he needs to do a good job so that team doesn't feel that the PO has actually stepped out. And wherever this new PO needs help, Scrum Master should pitch in. So, for example, if he is not aware about prioritization technique that the older PO was using, Scrum Master should be coaching this. If he is not sure how to handle certain situations, Scrum Master can coach. Maybe they can bring in an agile coach as well. So we have to fit the best person for this new job.
Hi all, good evening. This week's question is, what if PO is not well or if he is not available to attend a sprint planning meeting or sprint review? How will you manage these kind of situations? We all know the roles and responsibilities of a product owner. So he is a main representative of the customer. I mean to say, he will communicate with customers and stakeholders to determine what their requirements are by listening to them and what the customer is asking for. And he will gather all these requirements and he will manage the product backlog. He will try to establish a relationship between the scrum team and the stakeholders. Like he will have the visualization of the product and he will try to bring that product goal, like he will convert that vision into the workable product backlog item, and with help of this he will try to execute and manage all the product backlog items so that we will be able to deliver what customer is looking forward for. Also you will be having the basic financial experience to manage all the budget related parameters within the team. So we know that the Scrum team should be self-organized and cross-functional. So it is not that team should be knowing how to accomplish their work rather than like someone directing them to do this and what not to do. So instead of direction, so they should be self-organized with all the relevant competences required without depending on the other teams from outside. So irrespective of any Scrum events, whether it is sprint planning or sprint review, if we know that PO is mainly responsible for managing the product backlog, it can be including the prioritization of the product backlog items and ensuring like if the development team have understood the requirement and all have the common and shared understanding before we start the sprint. So all these things will come into picture. So if PO is not available, then in that scenario, so team should be in absence of PO, development team should be able to determine what they are supposed to do, and they have to formulate a plan for continuing with the sprint, because it is a kind of risk if peer is not available, and if he has not generally managed any product backlog, or if the product requirement session has not happened. In that scenario, it is a kind of risk. So in order to mitigate this kind of risk, so we should have a proxy PO in place, so who is having the same knowledge as our PO whom we are working with, and he should be able to make any key decisions, so that he is having that authority to take any decisions in terms of negotiation or prioritization of any product backlog item, and how we have to accept, like whether if there is any ad hoc request that is coming in during the mid of the sprint, so how to descope. So all this authority should be taken care by PO by communicating with the customers. So in his absence, we would like to continue with help of a proxy PO. However, we are involving our product owner during the mid sprint reviews that is happening, for the better communication or the collaboration between the scrum team and the PO. But during the final review, if PO is not available, in that situations, we are trying to reschedule our call, and once he is present, we will be able. We are rescheduling the calls because to maintain the consistency, and also not to miss any feedbacks that we are receiving from the PO and the concerned team. But apart from any emergency leave or sick leave, if PO is not available for any scrum events, then as a scrum team, we have to find a way to inspect and adapt and make use of the retrospective and highlight this. So PO is not available, maybe we can illustrate an example like what the team is facing, like any recent challenges. If PO is not available during our sprint planning, what is the scenario we faced? Because certain plan might be like based on the prioritization team might supposed to work, but in his absence, team might have picked up the task that has come randomly, and they have started working on it, and at the end of the sprint, once PO is back, team has realized that that is not the task or the feature which they are supposed to work. So now it is resulted in a kind of rework. So to avoid all this kind of misunderstandings, we have to try to make use of the retrospective in case if PO is not in a any emergency leave, or if is there is no genuine reason for his absence. Thank you.
Hello everyone. So today's question is, your PO is on leave. He is not able to join the sprint planning and sprint review sessions. So what you will do in such situation? So first of all, let's see what is sprint planning and sprint review events. Let's start with sprint planning. What is sprint planning? Sprint planning is the first and the most important event in the sprint. Basically, uh, sprint planning is the event that kick off the sprint. The purpose of sprint planning event is to determine the sprint plan and the scope of the sprint, and set a sprint goal. So basically, in this event, the scrum team determines the delivery scope. It is the like basically here the scrum team define the scope of the delivery, and defines the sprint goal. So the the duration of the sprint planning is 8 hours for 1 month sprint. The role of product owner in the sprint planning is to prioritize the backlog item and propose the sprint goal. In addition to this, PO will uh, also clarify the team's query. So uh, now let's see what is sprint review. So sprint review is the second last event of the sprint. The purpose of this event is to inspect the outcome of the sprint and determine the future adaptation. So here, like in sprint review, PU discuss the product backlog as it stands, and in sprint review, basically the stakeholder and the scrum team collaborate collaborate. And the duration of this event is 4 hours for 1 month sprint. Now we'll answer the question, what happens if PO is not able to join both of the events. So the main purpose of this event, of the Scrum events, is to inspect and adapt. So now if the product owner is not able to join the sprint planning meeting, so the Scrum team can proceed with the sprint planning, because this because the backlog refinement is an ongoing process. And in backlog refinement, we have already refined we have already refined the product backlog items. So in such situation, the Scrum team can proceed with the sprint planning using the current state of the product backlog. Scrum team is self-organized, so they can understand what is needed and how they can build it. And as we already know, this backlog refinement is the ongoing process. And so the product backlogs may be already refined and are in the state to take into the upcoming sprint. So product backlog should always be in an actionable state, while it's best if the PO is present in order to help the team to determine or to articulate the sprint goal and clarify any queries of the developers. But if its PO is not available at the moment, then also we can proceed without PO for the sprint planning. Also, for the sprint review meeting, we can proceed without POs. Without PO if the PO is not available. But if the PO is on leave, then it might be possible they have made some arrangement for someone to handle it in their place, because it's best that the product owner should be present in the sprint review meeting, as they are the one who are closely in collaboration with the stakeholders, and they communicate closely with the stakeholder, and they are the best person to know about know about the business requirements. So it's better that the product owner is present during the sprint review. But if due to some reason he or she is on leave and are not able to join, might be possible they have made some backup arrangement in place of them. But if they have not made any backup arrangement, then also the team has to proceed with the sprint review event, as this is the most important event. Here the developers can demonstrate the outcome of the sprint to the stakeholders and get the feedback from them, because we cannot postpone the sprint review event, or we cannot cancel any event of the scrum. We cannot cancel any event in the sprint, so we can proceed with the sprint review events, and scrum master can should facilitate the event and check for the product backlog reprioritization if any. Thank you.
Hello everyone, today's topic is during sprint review, PO is not available, then how do you manage that particular sprint review? First, try to understand what is the reason behind the absence of PO, whether PO has taken a planned leave or long leave, or whether he or she got sick on that very day. So if it is a planned one, then definitely PO knows what is the sprint duration for the team, and he definitely knows that that particular sprint review day he might not be available. So if possible, he can probably arrange someone to represent that particular sprint review so PO can provide the overview of the whatever user story team has taken for the particular sprint, and the proxy PO can definitely connect with team to understand better, or time to time that proxy PO also can give feedback on that before actually the sprint review happens. Also, if PO if PO if team is ready, they can probably go ahead and present the demo to the customer, and try to record that particular demo session, because whatever customer feedback team is getting, PO definitely has to have that idea, and but the PO has to validate whether those are the valid feedback or not. Sometimes it's happened that customers expecting much more thing from the user story, but they have never told this kind of thing to the product owner. Maybe that is a change in request that team should work in the next sprint or something like that, but definitely it's not a feedback. So suppose customer telling in the absence of product owner, customer is telling team that we have already given this requirement, and team has to agree on that at the very at that particular point of time. But if we have a recorded version, and when PO is reviewing, then definitely PO and go and check with the customer and tell that no, it's not documented in requirement document anywhere, so it is not a feedback. So we can take, if it is a very urgent, we can take it as a change.